It started on a quiet evening in Atlanta. The sun had just slipped behind the skyline, painting the streets gold. Traffic was light, the air calm. But for one man, Special Agent Marcus, hill life was about to turn upside down in the next 5 minutes. Marcus wasn't in uniform that day. He was driving home from a long day at the bureau, jeans, gray hoodie, unmarked black SUV. A playlist hummed softly through the speakers. He wasn't thinking about work or cases or crime, just home. But fate had other plans. As he turned onto Peachtree Street, flashing blue lights filled his rearview mirror. 2 Atlanta police officers, white, mid-30s, followed close behind. Marcus frowned. What's this about? He wasn't speeding, not breaking any law. He signaled, pulled over calmly to the side. The officers approached, one on each side. License and registration, the taller one said sharply. Marcus rolled down his window and spoke calmly. Sure, officer. May I ask what's the reason for the stop? The cop's tone tightened. We'll get to that. Step out of the vehicle. Marcus hesitated. His instincts as a federal agent screamed something's off. He replied, Officer, I'm a federal agent. My badge is in my jacket pocket. May I reach for it slowly? But they didn't listen. The shorter cop placed a hand on his gun. Step out now. Marcus obeyed, stepping out slowly, hands visible. Inside, his FBI credentials sat quietly in his car, proof of who he really was. But at that moment, truth didn't matter. To them, he was just a black man in a hoodie driving an SUV in the wrong neighborhood. One officer barked orders. Turn around! Hands on the hood! Marcus complied, still calm. Officer, again, I'm a federal agent. Quiet! The cop snapped. You match the description of a suspect in the area. The cameras from nearby buildings caught everything. People began slowing down, watching from across the street. The taller cop frisked Marcus aggressively, pulling his arms higher than necessary. The other rummaged through his vehicle, tossing his jacket, laptop bag, badge holder. And there it was, his FBI ID and service weapon, neatly stored as required by protocol. The officer froze. Sir, you need to come see this, he called his partner. The taller cop looked at the badge, then at Marcus, then at the small crowd forming. Marcus looked him dead in the eye, his voice calm but cutting. I told you. I'm with the Bureau. A silence thicker than smoke filled the air. The realization hit them. They had just detained and humiliated a federal agent on camera. Most people would have exploded in anger. Marcus didn't. He took his badge, looked at both men, and simply said, You just made a very big mistake. He didn't shout, didn't threaten. He let the moment breathe. The officers mumbled apologies, faces pale, hands shaking. Sir, it was just a misunderstanding. But Marcus knew better. He'd seen this too many times. Different uniforms, same story. That night, back home, he replayed the footage over and over in his mind. He wasn't thinking about revenge. He was thinking about justice. His wife, Lauren, sat beside him. You have to do something, she said. He nodded slowly. Not for me. For everyone who never gets the chance to fight back. The next morning, he reported the incident to Internal Affairs and filed a civil lawsuit against the Atlanta Police Department for racial profiling and unlawful detention. The case would take months, but Marcus was ready. The city buzzed when the dash cam and street footage leaked online. Millions watched as 2 officers handcuffed a calm, cooperative man who never resisted, only to discover he was an FBI agent. The video became a national headline. Atlanta officers detain black FBI agent, claims racial bias. Public outrage exploded. Civil rights groups called it a wake-up call. The police department scrambled to defend itself. But the footage spoke louder than any excuse. In court, Marcus sat quietly while his attorney played the video. The judge's face tightened as he watched the officers ignore Marcus's repeated statements about being federal law enforcement. One of the officers tried to explain. He fit the suspect's description. The judge cut him off. Description? Or assumption? The room fell silent. Marcus didn't smile, didn't gloat. He just waited. After weeks of testimony, expert analysis, and pressure from the public, the city finally agreed to a settlement. $2 million. A quiet but powerful acknowledgement of guilt. When the verdict came, reporters crowded Marcus's driveway. They asked if he felt vindicated. He said only this, Justice isn't about the money. It's about the message. That calm doesn't mean weak, and that truth doesn't need to shout. His story spread across America. Police departments started revisiting their training programs. Racial bias seminars were introduced in multiple precincts. Even the two officers I'd now dismissed admitted in interviews later that they learned a lesson they'd never forget. Months later, Marcus stood again on Peachtree Street, the same road where it all began. The traffic lights blinked red, then green. He looked up at the city skyline and whispered, "Maybe change starts with just one stop." The camera slowly zooms out, soft music rising. Ah!